So, last time we went through the most basic text tags, the ones you are most definitely going to be using most often when building a web page. Can't do much without titles and paragraphs, after all, and being able to alter and format the text is pretty important. However, there are a bunch of other text tags that you can use to alter or format text in more specific ways or scenarios. I should also point out that I'm skimming over some specific tags that, under normal circumstances, format the text in a certain way. Like, for example, the site or address tags, both of which basically just italicize the text contained within them without adding any sort of additional formatting. Or the Q tag, which literally just puts quotation marks around the text inside of it, something that you can just do with the quotation button on your keyboard. These are mostly used as semantic tags to make it obvious what kind of content you're putting between them, but we'll get more into why that's important when we actually talk about semantic tags versus non-semantic ones. I just wanted to note that I am skimming over some of these because, in terms of formatting, they do the same thing as like basic formatting ones and are only really useful when you start thinking about the content that you are putting into them. For now, let's take a look at some of the less used text formatting tags. Let's start with the small tag. Pretty self-explanatory, it makes the text smaller without you having to manually change the text size. It also doesn't bold the text like it would if you were using the really small heading tags. That is basically all it does. But if you want to alter the position of smaller text, say for a footnote within the text, you'll want the sub and sup tags, standing for subscript and superscript text. The sub tag will make the text smaller, but it will also push it down slightly below the bottom of the rest of the text, while the sup tag will push it up higher, making them useful for notes and addendums to whatever you're writing out at the moment. The mark text is another one you're going to use when you want to bring some attention to your text, because that's how you highlight your text, like you're using a yellow highlighter marker. The abbreviation tag, or ABBR, is kind of interesting because it basically is used to add some context to something you're writing, rather than you having to put it explicitly in the text itself. It's used when you want to write out an abbreviation to add the meaning of that abbreviation in the alt text that will pop up when someone hovers their mouse over the letters, even having a handy little dashed line under it to let you know that it is special. Ain't that adorable? Next, we have the block quote tag. And this is for when you have a pretty long quote that won't just fit on a single line or in a single sentence. It will take whatever's inside of it, give it its own little paragraph, and squish down the sides inward so that it's more centered and separated from the rest of the text, to make it clear that this is a quote from a specific person or source. And finally, and this is an interesting one, we have the code tag. Despite its name, it's more for highlighting certain commands or entries in your text. Like, for example, if you're writing a tutorial about how to perform certain actions with HTML or CSS, you want the directions for what a person should type to be easier to see on the web page. The code tag will take whatever's between it, change it to a monospace or typewriter type font, shrink it down a little bit, and there you go. Now it is very easy to see among all of the rest of the regular text. Now, a lot of this doesn't seem like stuff that would be entirely helpful on its own, but this is all the sort of stuff that HTML was made to do. Again, it is a structure language. It's meant for very basic formatting and alteration. We won't be getting into the more wild or interesting stuff that you can do until we start combining this HTML with CSS. And I know I bring that up a lot in these videos, but it is a point that I feel needs to be stressed. You can't really make a good-looking website with just HTML. You can make a functional one, you can make a website with just text and images and have it be completely navigable and get your point across, but function only is boring, and you're going to want something that is going to keep people's attention, even if it's just a different background color. But that's still a little ways off. There's a few more things you should learn about HTML first. Like, for example, putting images on your webpage so everyone can bask in the power of your selfies. Until then, keep circulating the links, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.